I just demonstrated to him that he had a good point already handled, a good item already handled. So that was good. He's probably going to look into it. If he looks on YouTube and looks at some of these videos people have been making, he's probably going to prepare better with that too. Probably get a lot more ammo. but the thing of it is I said to him also, get some boards. Block up if it gets that bad. Put some boards over the windows. People. I mean, it could. But how far? I felt like I was kind of leading this guy down a rabbit hole. How far does this go? But I didn't really go very far at all. All I did was lead him down a little bit, gave him the main points, and he can go as far as he can possibly go with it, as far as it goes. But my friend while I was saying this, my friend said at least once or twice that he goes, I hope it doesn't get that bad. I think I was scaring my friend too. I was like, oh no. I was like, I was being nice compared to what stuff that I know. I was being really nice. I didn't even mention cannibalism. I didn't even mention it. I didn't do it. I did mention a few items on a few examples of wild food. Because these people are about 60 something miles probably or more from where I live. It's not like he's going to eat the tree or something, or the trees I mentioned. He's not going to go up where I'm at and eat my trees. If it gets that bad, he's probably not going to leave the area. I might have mentioned to him also that they're probably going to block off the major expressways and stuff like that. I don't think my friend liked hearing that either. But I just mentioned a number of things, and I'm hoping my friend will decide later on that they can reconsider these things and look into it further. But I did drop off you might say an emergency water filter. You might say for my friend. I made up one, so if he needs one, if something happens to the water, he'll at least have that down where he's at. He knows some wild food knowledge, and he has a little bit of food where he's at, but it's not really that good. But he's probably still prepared a lot better than a lot of people. But it's sad. It's just I told the guy about the fact that I told the guy at Myers the fact that about 7 million people starved to death in America during the 30s Great Depression. And I said that it was 100 million people back then, approximately, whatever. That's what I hear. And I said to him, there was approximately 100 million people back then. That's what I hear. So then, today, most of the people don't live on farms in relation to back then. They live in cities. They don't grow their own food. And today we have probably approximately three times as many people today. And most of them don't know much about wild food. Maybe a lot of people back then didn't either, but by the end of the 30s they did. And also, so you can kind of get the idea. I think I kind of indicated how many people would be starving now in relation, what's going on today. It could be at least easily 21 million. And I also said to him, that's just the number of people that actually starved to death back then. How many people were hungry that didn't die from starvation? And so anyway, just to tell you more about the story here is there's probably more I can say. But that's generally the picture which I put across. I gave him information which he could hear, he could think with, that was at a level which I figured he could understand. It was very real, and he has at least a couple names and a location where he can do research, where he can do study. And if you just go on YouTube, if you don't know anything about if you only know there could be a food shortage, all you do is type in food shortage, and you'll probably get 100 videos. So it's not and you probably eventually will stumble across Gerald Celente, Bob Chapman, Matt Kaiser, Mike Rivero, Jeff Rentz, Alex Jones, Jason Burmis, Lindsey Williams. The list goes on and on. So so it's not like it's all the information's unavailable. And who knows, Demcad and George for Title might actually get another subscriber because of this. Eventually, or more. So from this by myself telling this guy about this stuff. But anyway, and I also mentioned to him about gold and silver. I said, and also I think I mentioned to him about what's happening to the dollar. And I probably mentioned all this stuff, by the way, within 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. So to sum it up, is I made sure that he was still breathing when I left, and I also checked it throughout, so I wasn't overwhelming the guy when I was telling him stuff, and also that he still wanted to listen. And by the time we were done, when we were done, the guy was just sitting there like, kind of like sitting there, kind of blank, kind of blank, but thinking, which was good, but kind of blank, kind of like you might say he had been woken up on the Matrix, like he had been given the whichever pill that you take and you wake up, that he had taken the pill, and he's sitting here like, what in the world? Have I entered a new world? I even mentioned to him about the news. Don't believe what they tell you. They want you that they only tell you what they want you to think. And I didn't go into the great explanation of thought control, but I mentioned a little bit about that also. But by the time, like I said, by the time I left, he was just standing there, still alive. It looks like he was going to be okay. and he was sitting there he was on one side of the aisle, facing the other aisle, in the other direction, facing the aisle, in the same place where I had put back the food. Just sitting there looking at it. Just sitting there looking at the food, staring at the food, just standing there. And I wished him well, and I said, okay, check into it. If you have it, you'll have it, and you don't have to worry about it. And I tried to present it in a way it wasn't too much and wasn't going to freak the guy out too much. So then I walked off my friend. I don't know what else I could have done. I had to tell him. He asked, but at the same time, this was a guy that didn't know about it. I could not believe it. This is how much people are, how much censoring is being done by the. I mean, this guy has people he knows. He probably watches the news once in a while, at least. Maybe watch the stupid shows on TV that tell him about the news. Some of these funny so-called channels, comedy channels, which are they have some so-called news on there. He might be listening to certain local, news or talk shows. But he hadn't ran across this. So you can see the type of censoring that has been done. And I think within a week or two, this guy's going to know a lot more. And I think hopefully he doesn't freak out his friends and his family too much. But at least I'd rather have this than for something to go down and for his family and his friends to have no food or little food, and for the trucks to not be able to ship products to the stores because they're out of diesel or fuel, and the farmers to not be able to grow because they don't have the fuel to grow to use in their tractors, and other problems that could happen. I hate to have that stuff happen, because he would have probably no chance, or very, very little chance possibly, if it went really bad and was not going to recover in a location of 3 to 5 million people. That's a million people. Millions of people that don't prepare. There's probably a small number of them who are somewhat prepared or half-assed prepared. That might be 10%. And I just say half-assed prepared. I say there's probably, out of that 10%, out of the half-assed prepared, which I mean those who had just kind of somehow just picked up stuff, thought it was a good idea to store more because they hate going to the store often or something like that. You know, those who have stored more food because they hate going as much, so they've kind of just stored more. They've got some guns because they like to have guns. Or those who have a water filter because they've heard that it's good to have one of those because the water isn't good to drink and from the tap directly. Or people that just kind of have stumbled along and just have these things, but don't know the full picture. You see, a larger picture. That's what I mean by half-assed prepared. So you have like maybe 10% of the population, maybe more, maybe 15, I don't know, that are half-assed prepared more or less. And out of that 10 or 15%, you might have 2 or 3%, maybe at best, that are prepared somewhat. And they're not probably, even those 2 or 3% may not be very prepared to handle 3 to 5 million people who aren't around them. And they expect to hop on the expressway and go up out in the country. How in the hell are you going to go out there if you got checkpoints, unless they're letting people go through? Or if they don't, or if they shut down the expressways to contain a large population for whatever reason. My friend already knows that if it gets that bad, and if he doesn't get out of there, that I'm not probably going to be able to go down there and get him. And I tell you flat out, if it gets that bad, I'm not going down there. I already told him, hey man, if it starts getting that bad, you got to get the hell out of there, okay? And if you wait around, I'm not sure if I said this part to him, but I think he kind of got it. That I'm not going down there if I can't get out of there. So you can do what you can do, and he knows how to get. He knows the direction where I'm at, but he needs to. He didn't want to do the food, so doesn't. I'm hoping that he'll figure it out. So anyway, and I also mentioned to that one guy in the store, just for a little additional thing, is that I mentioned, hey, you can't rely upon the government to save you. You just cannot do it. I mean, I would not, because for example, look what they did with Katrina. They had floating corpses. There were floating corpses in rivers, or whatever I said, right? They did a really good job, right? Floating corpses in rivers was a good job. He was just looking at me like, yeah, I see. Like, yeah. I don't know. I stopped. That was probably the worst I got, because I didn't want to get too really ridiculous. My purpose was not to scare the crap out of him. My purpose was to get the point across, to make it clear, to get a good reality of what I was trying to relay to him. What I was trying to relay to him about this information. So I kind of feel like Morpheus. I just had that thought. I feel like I was Morpheus, and I'm glad that and maybe he will be a Neo to those people around him. All right, that's the end of the video. Okay, you have a good one.